Oh, no, you didn't. This is Our Android Week with Alan Furstenberg in New York, Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia, Duke Carrico in Kingsport, Tennessee, Cadeas Kalut in Newport Beach, California, Pam Adger in Menifee, California. This is Our Android Week. So, good to have you with us. I'm Dan McDermott, your host. The only person who's not in the intro. Kind of sucks. Okay, so I understand this
You've been running that intro for how many years now, and you only now realize that?
I'm acknowledging it for the first time, you know. So anyway, the stupid Bengate thing. First, there was the guy who's, by the way, made probably 150 grand by my calculations, based on what I've made from videos. He's got 50 million views. A million can be anywhere from 3 to 5,000. Let's say it's 3, be conservative. So he's got $150,000 from bending an iPhone. I guess he can now afford to replace the iPhone. So then Consumer Reports came out and said this is overblown. Then these two idiot kids went in and destroyed the property of Apple in this Apple store by bending phones. Is this stupid? I mean, aluminum, a large sheet of aluminum bends. Plastic will break, but it won't bend. So I've broken my Note 2 screen. I haven't broken the plastic. I'm sure you could. But does anyone think that an aluminum can can't be crushed? What's the deal?
Every time a phone is released, everybody tends to want to have something to cry about, and so this is that something to cry about. And that's really it. That's who asked you to sit on your phone? So I don't think, it's not like it was just bending while it was sitting on the table. It's bending because you're sitting on it. So, I mean,
you're not sitting on it.
It's in the front pocket, they're claiming.
I don't know why you would do this to your phone. There's no scenario that would.
Let's at least represent what in the hell's going on correctly.
Okay.
Sitting in the front pocket when it bends.
So they say, right? Because they want a refund. So they're saying that. Now it may or may not be accurate. I have no idea. What if you wanted to? Is that the plus or the what is that? Why are you muted?
His phone does not bend in your front pocket. That's an exaggeration.
The phone does not bend in your front pocket.
Nor does it bend in Charlie Skinny Jeans' front pocket either. So,
but how long have both of you had them? And do you have the plus or the regular?
Well, they've only been out. They've only been out for 2 weeks, Dan. So not very long.
But have you had it 2 weeks or have you had it 48 hours?
Anecdotal evidence is not evidence on either side. It's an anecdote.
That's valid.
So you saying it doesn't happen is just as worthless as somebody saying it does happen.
Because
That's
we
valid.
know the rant we're going to get when yours finally does bend, if it bends.
It ain't gonna bend. Yeah, it's not gonna bend.
Both of you have the 6 Plus?
Plus.
Say again? You broke up there.
1.6 Plus.
All right, this Charlie with the skinny jeans. Has it got the big phone or the little phone?
The little phone.
Okay, so you've got the big one. Now the little one, I don't think there's anybody saying that the little one is going to bend. They're just saying the Plus bends. And you weigh like 110 wet, so you're not,
So what are you
stretching.
trying to say, Dan?
I'm saying you're not wearing skinny jeans, right?
Okay.
So anyway, okay, so Bengate to be announced, a final verdict. Alan was going to trash this topic, but then Cadeas and Alan started arguing about it, so I said, okay, it's back in. My topic was vindicated yet again.
I think you got that a little skewed.
It wasn't?
All right. Cadeas, you have a report on Gilbert. Sounds like small pasta last name. Experience with the 1+1. What's the deal with that?
Wait, what is his last name?
It sounds like, it spells like, it's like Orzo. I don't know his last name. And I've been to 20 countries and I can speak fluent in 6 or 7 languages and I cannot pronounce this freaking name.
Oh boy.
What is it? Orozco?
That's neither here nor there at this point because you misspelled it. Looks like, and that's why you can't.
I didn't put it in there.
We'll move on from that.
I even get blamed with Alan's errors. I didn't type that in there. Okay, what's the deal on this
All
One
right,
Plus One
anyway,
rant
So
you posted?
Gilbert bought a OnePlus One along with a couple other of our viewers, Nick Singh and a few other ones. They bought the OnePlus One based on Alan's recommendation. And so far, they love the phone until one day Gilbert woke up apparently, and his phone was done for. He put it on the charger for the night. He woke up and it wasn't charging. So he didn't know the real return process, and neither do I, because I don't own the phone. So I had to kind of look around and try to figure it out. And I was like, apparently you go through this escalation process or whatever, and they get back to you in 10 days. And some of the sites I was reading saying, yeah, they got a replacement for whatever was going on within 10 to 15 days or so. And here it is we're rolling on day 45, and he's still sitting here trying to get a phone. And they're telling him, oh, we need you. Finally, someone got back with him and gave him a list of things to do on his phone. So he had to, they had some weird stuff like hold down the power button for 20 seconds for 5 minutes and then tell them what was reacting on the screen, which in turn is nothing. And there was a couple of steps that they had him go through, and then they said, well, now you need to, after taking a long time to respond to him again, they said, now you need to make a video showing us what's happening and send that to us, and then we'll escalate it to the highest level, and then at that point, the highest level will determine if you should get a new phone or not. So my issue, and I understand that they don't want to just be getting ripped off, which makes logical sense to me, but I don't understand why it's taken this long for this whole process to go through. I mean, even the Google Play Store, I thought they took a long time to do things, and they still get you a phone within a week, usually a week and a half. So here we are rolling up on 45 days, and he's sitting here needing to borrow phones from people to get.
Okay, is this a something? I guess you just buy it online. That's the only way to get this phone.
Right.
So it's not like he can walk into the AT&T or Verizon or Sprint store and
buy it, and so you can't expect that type of replacement either.
But
which
this
I
is a negative.
Yeah.
Isn't there and there's no insurance plan? I guess like with my Note 2, Sprint or the insurance company that I pay $11 a month to could they're very responsive if something goes wrong with my phone.
Right, and here's the thing about that. With all the carriers, they all use Asurion. Even in Canada, everybody's using the same Asurion carrier. So it's all working the same. Maybe the rate's a little different based on your carrier, but if you have insurance, so like if Gilbert has insurance on his account with whatever service he's with, he has the ability to file an insurance claim and get a replacement through them, but it won't be a OnePlus One. They're going to send him as close of an equivalent from whatever they have in their inventory. So that is an option. He can go that route. But if he purchased a OnePlus One, the warranty I think should take care of that. I think they should.
Wait a minute. What do you mean they replace it with a different phone? You couldn't get insurance from Asurion.
It looks like I have a Nexus 5. I have a Nexus 5. Obviously, AT&T
doesn't. Did you get that from the Play Store?
Yeah, that I purchased from the Play Store.
Okay.
Obviously, AT&T doesn't sell Nexus 5s. So if I go and my phone gets stolen at the airport, I can call and make a claim, and they'll send me another phone, what they feel is the equivalent of the Nexus 5, and they usually do a really good job. So it's not an issue of him he can't use an insurance plan. He can go that route, but he's not going to get the phone he asked for when this is a manufacturer amount that should be covered under the manufacturer warranty, which they haven't said they wouldn't cover it. They've just taken forever to actually replace it.
45 days for a telephone is not acceptable. It should be 45 minutes.
And maybe we're saying this because normally the carriers take care of it. Maybe this is the normal return process in OnePlus One's defense if you go through Samsung directly or Motorola directly, but I don't think so. I think that's still way too long.
The thing works. I mean, he can make phone calls and he can do basic stuff.
It's a dead screen. Or
Okay.
I don't know if it's a dead screen or a dead battery, but he's not getting anything. He can't do anything on. He can't see anything on the screen.
So he's got like an old Android phone hasn't used for a while. He's activated that to
I
be able
think
to
he's either
function or
using
something.
somebody's iPhone or went back to an old phone or something. I can't remember what he told me.
Yeah, 45 days is not acceptable by any measure for this. This is outrageous. It's no wonder you went on that rant. And that rant's like a week old. I mean, or more. I don't know.
About 4 days old. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to use our Android Week powers to put pressure on this Asian company that doesn't.
What do you
really
think,
exist.
Alan? What's your perspective on the replacement process that you know of?
Okay, if I was going to be snarky, I would say, I've never had a problem like this. And I've never had this kind of a problem with their RMA procedure. But I'm not going to be snarky like that, because this is bullshit. This is just the worst fucking customer service there is out there.
Do you know your camera's off?
I didn't, actually, because it looks like it's on from my end. How about now?
Nope. Black screen. Because when you go on a rant, it's always really, important that we have the visual element added to that.
I understand. But let me just say, in a calm, cool, collected manner,
Here we go.
that this is utter fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
And
45 days.
that any company that acts this way should be utterly disgraced of themselves. This is not how a professional acts.
They should have, on the first call when they thought it was legit, don't you think they should have sent him a replacement phone? And but pinged his credit card for $1 and said that you're going to be charged, $600 or whatever if you don't, or whatever it is, if you don't send us the old phone within X number of days, and send them even a refurb, right? If there are any yet, I don't know.
Well, and that's the problem, is that there aren't any. There are barely any phones. It's not like they've got tons and tons of these sitting around like Kindle Fire phones or anything.
Right.
These are actually phones that people want.
Yeah, that's the good side of this
Well, maybe
coin.
that's the problem.
If you have a problem with your Kindle Fire, they will send you a half dozen brand new ones in a boxed set, like the Harry Potter novels, in a pretty chest of drawers or something.
But maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the issue. The issue is that they don't have any phones to send, and so they're just trying to drag it out.
Well, that's true. They probably don't, but turnaround time on new invites is pretty quick these days. It's not like, it just means that, okay, that means there's one more invite that doesn't get processed, okay. And honestly, any company in this industry should be expecting a certain number of devices that need to go through the RMA process. So it's not like they should be really having no inventory at all. They should have no new inventory, and they should have a number set aside for contingencies like this. Any real company would.
It looks like Gilbert's actually watching the show right now, and he just wrote on Twitter saying that his phone is dead 100%, no sign of life. So he has literally nothing on it. And then Kevin Bryan goes on to say that Alan's sitting here ranting about the 1+1. It's about the screen being black, but all he sees is black on the TV screen while Alan rants. So, but yeah, so I don't know. I try to reason with this, but at about 45 days now, and I'm kind of sad, honestly. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed by this. I was actually talking up the phone. It's not, like I said, it's not a phone that I would purchase, but I was still making recommendations for people who would like a phone like that for them to get it. But now this makes me not. And I think, and as I said in my little rant, I think that also this type of warranty process should be something that is reviewed whenever people review phones too as well. Like, yes, the 1+1 may be one of the greatest phones this year, but when you factor in the warranty and how long it takes for it to be replaced, that should make it rank really low. It should lose points for that. It shouldn't take 45 days to get a replacement.
Okay, question. Now, I saw stories about the iPhone. I read somewhere somebody had a problem, whatever, and they went to the store and they couldn't replace it right away because there was a line literally wrapped around the building. I mean, so I could understand in that situation. This one is still relative. I mean, it's not everywhere. It's not, you can just walk into any store and buy it. So is it fair to say there's some reasonable way that they could justify this? Because I don't see it. I'm grasping for straws trying to find it.
Even if they had to ship it from China, the ship time of 10 days, 15 days would still be reasonable, knowing that they're a new company and they're just getting started in the whole 9 yards. I mean, I'm able to make some kind of I can make some exceptions in some of these things, but like 45 days, this is ridiculous. 45 days and they still haven't decided whether they want to send him another one or not.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I didn't even like the Google Play's way of, hey, you need to charge my card for the replacement of the new phone, and then we'll give you your money back once we receive the other phone and realize that it's not.
That's common though. That happened with me with my
That's
Note
common.
2 because they don't have a relationship with you necessarily. You could be buying
Right.
your first play phone. You could have just opened up an account, right? With
Right, but
Sprint, they
even
just said
even
we
I
will
would.
add a $500 charge to your account if you don't send us the phone back. We're going to send you a refurb, and I sent them my Note 2 with the smashed screen, and then otherwise I wasn't charged $500 or $900 or whatever it is. I don't even know because I wasn't charged how much it would be. But Sprint has a recurring agreement with me, for $100 a month, and which is lower than it used to be because pressure from T-Mobile, which is why they shouldn't be allowed to buy T-Mobile.
I don't know, Dan.
I
I would
digress.
say that it's not even proper for Apple.
On opening day,
I-
It's not proper for Apple.
there
well,
was
Dan made the analogy to people who want to, who are having problems with their iPhone 6 or 6 Plus, having trouble exchanging it because of the lines around the block at the Apple store.
the anecdote that I'm referring to is a guy who thought the 6 Plus was too big and wanted to exchange it for the 6 within the
Now
window.
that's a different
That's
process.
a different
Dan.
issue.
That's not a broken
Right, that's
phone.
an exchange. That's another story.
He just wanted to
Right.
exchange it because I made a mistake. I didn't want the blue one. I wanted the red one, and so that he ended up putting an ad on eBay for someone who wanted the big one and got the
Yeah,
small
no,
one.
I've seen that as well, and I have.
So it's not a fair analogy. I agree.
It's a different analogy. It's the equivalent analogy would be a person who went and tried to use the iPhone, an iPhone 6.
And it was a brick.
It was not working with their carrier in their environment or whatever, and went back to return it, and was told, "No, you can't return it yet."
Oh my God. Oh my God. Kevin's comment. Is Alan ranting from a 1+1 screen? Because all I'm seeing is a black screen.
Yeah, we
Alex,
already
again,
laughed about that.
Oh, did you already do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I was distracted.
Is my screen working yet, by the way?
I'm joining you from a 1+. Yeah, your screen's up. You're
This
good.
is good.
So anyway, yeah, this
Bottom
is,
line,
this,
one
they gotta
plus
get
one or one plus solve this problem.
I want the what's the
And don't
status?
solve this problem because we talked about this problem. Solve this problem because it's the right thing to do. All these you're supposed to be never settling and all this stuff, and these corporations, you're supposed to be different. So screw the
Here,
customer
here.
over.
Here.
Okay, so here's what's the current status of his situation?
Well, Gilbert, let us know what your current status is. I think the last we heard, you were still waiting for them to respond on the video that you made. I believe that's the last that I heard, but let us know in the
I
comments.
hope he's doing a running diary because, like, I mean, is this a fair hit? In other words, did he call once and then he was busy and on vacation for 3 weeks
That's the
and then
thing.
called
You
back?
can't
And you know what I mean? Or is
That's
it
the
like
thing.
he's
You can't
every
call,
day
man.
calling and yelling and screaming? You know what I mean?
Man, you can't call. You can't call. That's the thing.
you
have to
email.
go through their little. You have to go to their website and type them I will call it an email, basically, and then they get back to you. And their website says that the turnaround time for them to get back to you is 10 business days. So,
Oh my
and this
God.
is why it's 5 days because he's like, "Did you try this?" And then he's got to wait 10 business days before he can get a
Oh
response.
my
on whether he
God,
tried
are
it
you
or
kidding me?
Right.
No wonder the
Yeah.
phones are so cheap. It's like 6 guys in Guangdong province. Jesus. Oh my God. Yeah. Early adopters pay a price. So anyway, they should like hook up with Elance and hire like 3 people to deal with these issues. Okay, so big fail from them. It was a shame that he can't do. He could make a viral video. He could call up 1-800-1+1 or whatever, but there isn't a phone. That'd be a great YouTube video. Hello, I've been waiting 45 days. I'm sorry, it will be 55 days now. Okay, so Google's confidential Android contracts show rising requirements. The gist of this is, Alan, first of all, explain to us how there are exactly why do they need to have an agreement with Google when it's ostensibly an open and the software is free for anyone to use. What are the pros and cons of doing a deal with Google versus not doing a deal with Google? And is this significant? They've added a few icons and some have to be on the home screen. I don't find this shocking at all. And how much of this is a response to the failed Kindle, the apparently failed Kindle Fire phone, and a fear of other companies attempting something similar, a major branch off that would be sort of but not really Android.
Well, first of all, let's understand what this is. This is a rumor, and normally this show tends to avoid rumors. I don't know
Amir
how
Efrati is pretty good. He, a former Wall Street Journal reporter, who's now at this, I mean, the premier
It is a
paywall
vague rumor,
site.
though. This is a vague rumor.
He said he saw the documents. He said documents we saw. They were looking at a contract from Google.
This is a vague rumor.
I wouldn't say a former
This
Wall
is a
Street
vague
Journal
rumor.
reporter saying that he
This is a
personally
vague rumor
saw
of
this.
things that have not yet been released.
Oh, okay.
That said, what we're talking about is the so-called the thing that has been over various points this year been known as Android Silver, powered by Android, guaranteed by Android, and a bunch of other names. What this is basically is Google saying they're tired of people who are using the Android name without demonstrating some level of quality. So they're saying, look, if you want to call yourself Android, here's what you have to have on it. You have to say that you're powered by Android. You have to have the Play Store. You have to have Play services. Since you're having the Play Store, you also have to have all of these other Google apps. And supposedly that's what this is a list of, or the 20. I don't even know if there are 20 Google apps. So that part surprises me a little bit.
There's so it's like the cheap colognes at Walmart. You know, compare us to Drakkar Noir. Compare us to Polo. So the phones will be like that. They'll be like, compare us, because they can't use the Google Play. Compare us to Google Play and Android.
Well, basically and yes, this is in a lot of ways a response to the crappy phones that have been out there that did not have Android Marketplace or Google Play support, that were stuck on ancient versions of Android, and that were providing poor user experiences. Now, and still, it's allowing people to take the Android core operating system, the Android open source platform as it's been known. People are still allowed to take that and do whatever they want with it. That includes Amazon. That includes tons and tons of Chinese companies. That includes you if you want to do it. But if you want Google Play, which more and more people believe is actually the useful part of Android, or what people, the visual face of Android, then Google is saying you need to play by some rules. And here are the rules. Thoughts, Cadeas?
I think it's a good idea. It's time for them to control their brand a little bit. I understand this is a rumor preference in this, but I think it's a good idea for them to control their brand a little bit, only because they kind of just let everybody take it. But the question is the question that I ask is, if they do start doing this and creating more control over their brand, is this going to force another brand to move in for some of those areas where people aren't doing quite what they want to do and they don't want to follow these rules? Because Amazon's a perfect example where they built the phone without the Google services and the whole 9 yards on it. So is this going to force people to hurt Google or help Google? And that's a question that they kind of got to dance around, if this is even true. Again,
I think. Well, let's look at it this way. Who has enough power to fork Android and create your own store? Amazon. That's what Amazon did. That's what you have to do. Because if you're not going to have the Play Store, you need to run your own store. So we've got the Amazon store, which has, 1/10 of the apps. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. Who else could do it? I can only think of two other companies.
Who might those two companies be?
Samsung and Microsoft.
Well, Microsoft's struggling as it is. Samsung.
And yet Microsoft is doing that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Microsoft has done.
That's true.
As for Samsung, your thoughts?
Samsung is in a better position, but they'd have to bring something to the table that's not on the other platforms, or particularly Android. That's the only thing. I mean, because literally that's the only thing that holds people where they are, is because they have all this stuff. So if you can bring something new and innovative to the table that everybody either wants to be a part of or wants to adopt, then yes, you start taking market share. And I don't think Microsoft yet. Microsoft, I think they're in a better position to do something like that if they actually do something. But Microsoft and Samsung are the only two people that's in that position, and Samsung's not one that's gonna building stuff.
And I just thought of a third. Xiaomi might have the power to do it.
Yeah, that's true too.
But they seem very much on good terms with Google.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next story, Dan.
Yeah, next up, I was looking at, I was trying to find a PR contact or media contact at OnePlus, and they are locked down. I can't find anything. It's actually easier to get stuff from the White House than these guys. Okay, so next up is Vine for Android gets advanced editing tools and the option to import videos. This is basically just the new version of Vine for iOS. The features have now come over to the Android app. I don't understand now that Twitter is doing autoplay videos or posting videos in their stream. I'm not sure what the allure of Vine is, but I do see people doing Vines, but I see them much less, or I think at least significantly less than I used to. Do either of you use Twitter enough to be able to comment on your observations on why people would shoot a Vine versus a YouTube video or something else? And are you seeing the same, more or less, use of that product than...
I've never seen a Vine in the wild.
Really? Wow.
Really. I believe they're out there. I've just never seen one in the wild.
The people I follow are more journalists, so I'll see them. But I used to see like someone, whatever journalist would be on, a TV set or whatever, and showing stuff. But I don't see it. I think maybe it was just the initial allure of, in a gimmicky sense. Cadeas, I know you use Twitter. Do you see Vines in your stream a lot?
I don't really use Twitter very much. I only use Twitter when somebody tweets something to me. Then it's like kind of like a Hangouts type thing for me. So if somebody messages me on Twitter, I see and reply, but I don't just scroll Twitter. But that being said, I did open a Vine account and started kind of following people. But I think the problem with Vine is that it's too short to really deliver any real like information, and so because of that, it's just like little comedy stuff, and so it's something that not everybody can get interested in. So people in my stream know I never see a Vine. When I do happen to look down Twitter, I don't see a Vine. I have to actually go open the Vine app to see stuff, and it's never interesting to me. So
yeah, so it's all very exciting to us here. We can't wait for you to send us all your Vines, #OurAndroidWeek. So we can watch them repeatedly. Okay, so next up is there was our discussion segment here, iPhone 6 Plus versus Samsung Galaxy Note 3. So it's a good question because they're the same screen size pretty much, I think. I mean, I don't know. I guess if they're both 16:9, they're pretty much exactly the same. I have a Note 2, and I find I enjoy it in a way, and at the same time, it's impossible to use one-handed reliably without dropping it, thus my cracked screen. And so what do you guys think? Kadesh, you've had one for a while, and I know you're very familiar with Android devices and iOS devices, so what do you think? They kind of said, I don't know, it's kind of a fair mixed bag conclusion that they thought in this article. What do you think? Have you had, I don't know if you had a Note 2, but I know you've had similar.
I have a Note 3 somewhere around here, so I was trying to track that down, but I don't know where it's at.
What do you think about? Is it? I assume the hardware is nicer on the iPhone, and
one of the things that I've said
right?
with playing with this phone, one of the things that I've said was that if I could erase this phone and put Android on it, put vanilla Android on it, and it look how it looks and runs Android like it should, I would actually do that over the Nexus, and that's the milestone for me to say something like that. So, but that being said, when you start using iOS, you're comparing the operating systems at this point. If you have the same size phone minus the stylus, and you have the same size everything, and you got great battery life on both, really it's this operating system is what you end up comparing. And I haven't read completely through this thing. I've read the majority of it, but it looks like they're even pretty much saying the same thing, that it's more operating system. So like they say, oh well, they're talking about different apps, so like the Highlight app, and so like there's just different things here. Really, you end up comparing the operating systems, and so then it goes back to personal preference again. What do you think, Alan?
Since I haven't used an iDevice in years, and I do not use the Samsung, I've got nothing to say about this one. Well, the thing I find most amusing about his comments kind of boiled down to is iOS is fine for fun, frivolous stuff, but if you want to do real work, use the Android.
That's debatable.
That's what the article said. I mean,
yeah. Because
I can't
I do have
the accuracy of that, but that's what the article said.
I do have an iPad, and I do have a Nexus 7. They're both sitting right here, and they're both fully charged, and I use them both. I do find myself, when I'm working on proposals, I do find myself doing more proposal work on the iPad. And it's funny because I do all that, but then it's still all in Google Drive. So like if I need to display something, I sometimes do that with the Nexus 7, but if I literally need to work on a proposal, I will do that on the iPad. So like there's gives and takes on both sides.
Because the keyboard's better, or why?
I think it's because the way Pages flows. I think it flows better.
And do you have the original Nexus 7 from 2011?
I have the remember the one with the LTE on it.
Okay, yeah, mine is horrifically is slowed down a lot. I'm not sure. I saw in the forums a lot of people were complaining about the update affecting it, but mine is just sometimes unusably slow. Like I have to wait. Like if I reboot it, I have to wait 15 minutes for it to do everything before I can use it.
You just need the Nexus 9 when it gets here, so that's all. Your tablet's a little too old.
I mean.
But yeah, so I mean, so it's gives and takes on both. It's gives and takes on both of them. So I don't know. I've watched more YouTube videos on the Nexus 7. If I'm watching you do that on the Nexus 7, I don't really like the iPad for watching videos. So like it's gives and takes, and everybody's got their own personal preference.
Question, so. Alan. I'm still getting pop-ups on this computer, which I'm doing the show Captain the Hang Up on, and it interferes. I'm screwed, right? There's no way to like shut it off from one computer in Chrome but the other, unless I use like Internet Explorer or Firefox on this computer and didn't install the Hangouts app.
You could reformat the hard drive. That might solve it. Or unplug the computer and put a magnet next to it.
Use a different browser, Dan, for that other computer, so you don't get the pop-ups. Firefox, Internet Explorer.
That's what I was saying. That's my only option. That sucks. Although probably less bloated.
Or don't sign in on that other computer. But that's an offline conversation.
Yeah. Okay, because like I'm still having like you guys are talking and a pop-up will come up, and I want the pop-ups, but I want them on this computer, not this one. Okay, so next up is
Greg says that the comments are disabled.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
If the comments are disabled, there are multiple ways to comment to us, so we need to know where it's disabled, but you can always use Twitter or just use another person's post that's not disabled. I can't see where that came from, but I
think he's joking because, like, obviously he's commenting, so obviously they're not disabled, right?
Or he changed locations of where he was commenting, so whether he was doing the YouTube video, the Google Plus, or it's not Twitter, but Google Plus or YouTube video. So there's other avenues to reach us. So
please send a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Oh boy.
All right, next up is oh my God, this BlackBerry Passport phone. I have to put a picture up here. I forget who initially saw this with, or he tweeted me. Travis Sanford, I think, tweeted me, and that's when I first saw this image, and I was like trying to figure out what it was. But this is the BlackBerry Passport, which it's a 4. It looks bigger than it actually is. It's a 4.5-inch. It says 4.5-inched. So I guess it's the screen's 4.5 inches, but not the device. I'm not sure, and it's not particularly square. It's what the hell, Alan? What do you think about this? What's the market for this phone?
Market for this phone are people who just cannot give up Blackberries for some god unknown reason. Since everyone that I know who was clinging, grasping to their BlackBerry with their dying breath has moved over to a real phone.
Okay, so I still say that the BlackBerry keyboard was far superior to anything I've seen on Android. But then when I was using a BlackBerry, I was just seeing all these cool things you could do with iOS and Android that I couldn't do on my BlackBerry. There are government folks who have to use BlackBerries or get them issued by the government. My brother-in-law is in that situation.
I'm told that this phone is the size of a. Did you guys get that understanding?
Say that
as well?
again. I'm sorry, you broke up.
I'm told this phone is the size of a Passport.
Oh,
So
that's the name. Okay.
right, hence the name. That was the understanding. Because again, I don't really look into BlackBerry that much anymore. But I'm looking at the size of my Passport right now, and it's not. I mean, it's not that bad. I would say the Note is about the same size as that. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. The picture makes it look massive, kind of like the Moto 360, how the pictures just make it look crazier. But then when you actually get it, you realize it's not that bad. I mean, honestly, a phone this size would not be a bad thing. So, but it's not a phone I would buy only because of the operating system.
Okay, the dimensions of it are listed as 5.04, is that inches? Units might be nice here, Forbes. 5.04 by 3.56 by 0.37. Oh, there it is, inches.
Oh my God, Kevin Bryan, the market for this phone, Canadians.
And that comes from the Canadian. So.
Right, because I think that's what he was saying. RIM, Research in Motion, is a Canadian company. Okay, so...
No, all the Canadians I know actually have common sense.
Okay, so this is the BlackBerry Passport, which we give 5 stars to. There you go, in all its glory. Okay, so so that happened. All right, next up is what is the perfect screen size? Because I
That's relative to the user.
and the use case and the device, but in general, now that you're using the 6 Plus, do you find, and I don't know how much I mean, is it your primary phone right now while you're developing something?
Oh God, no! It's just development related.
Okay, so what do you think? Like, can you imagine trying to do a one-hand respond to a text or something?
You don't with a phone that size. We learned that with the Note.
Yeah. What's your primary phone, your go-to? The Nexus 5?
Nexus 5, unfortunately. I was toying with the idea of getting the new Moto X. After sitting down with the new Moto X for about an hour, I decided that it wasn't worth it. Only because there's something weird on the screen that's just not my... So... Yeah, so I gave it up. But Charlie still wants it, so that'll probably be his go-to phone. He's a Moto X user right now, so he'll like the new Moto X more than likely.
Okay. And Kevin clarifies his previous comment. He said, real talk, I know 3 Canadians right now, personally, who still stick to BlackBerry. It's a joke, but I'm half serious. And the BlackBerry Passport, he says, isn't the strangest phone I've ever seen. I know people who love the keyboard as well, but without apps, there's not much point. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, so the last time I checked in with BlackBerry, they were kind of like gingerbread light, but really stable. if that makes sense. Okay, so next up is this. What is the perfect, or Alan wants to talk about the Yoda phone. And that's not Yoda like Star Wars, that's YOTA. So what's the deal there?
Yeah, you remember back in January we talked about this phone from Russia that had e-ink on the back?
Yeah.
Well, I saw one this week, and it is beyond cool. It is actually a really, really awesome phone.
Neat.
And I am looking for them to formally roll out in the U.S. Because it is just a brilliant design.
It's where now? Like, what country is it in, or countries?
You can get it in Russia and Europe, I believe.
And it's e-ink, so I guess the battery life would be spectacular.
Well, it's dual screen. It's got a regular screen on the front and an e-ink screen on the back. So if you commonly are, using it as an ebook reader, perfect. If you like having a nice decorative case that you want to change often, great use for it. If you've got things, notifications, alerts, other things that you just want to be able to glance at and not have to turn your screen on for, perfect use case. There are a lot of really, really interesting use cases.
How do you put it in a case? You'd almost have to have it like in some sort of binder where the side would attach to the case, so you could flip it this side or this side if you wanted to put it into a protective case of some kind. Traditionally you have a back of a phone and a front. In this case, there's two fronts. There's no back.
That's correct. But we've got examples of lots of protective cases that do not necessarily encase the phone in completely. And if you think about it, the more fragile part is the front part. The back part of it's nice and solid. So really, you want a case that'll cover the front, which is fine to do since most of your notifications will be on the back.
I guess you just want it like a sleeve or something. Another
a sleeve
argument
or
for
a bumper, or there are all sorts of possible case designs for it.
And how big is the screen?
The phone looks like a phone. If I didn't tell you that there was this e-ink screen on the back, you wouldn't know it.
I mean, is it like an iPhone 5S sized, or is it like a Galaxy sized or a Note sized? In other words, like
it's
is it a large
it's a Galaxy size. I mean, it didn't seem much bigger than my phone.
Okay.
I do remember this phone. I had forgotten all about it. And it's shaped like a pebble, kind of, right? With the rounded corners and all that.
The first one was kind of boxy. The Yoda Phone 2 has a little bit more of rounded edges and tapered edges, so it looks more like better quality Android phones that we see these days.
As much as folks like Craig like to trash Android for fragmentation, and it's a legitimate criticism, it's really exciting to see folks just come out of stuff, from the wild that's just really innovative and exciting, and to see where it goes. So there are pros and cons, as we've seen with the OnePlus One. Okay, and then coming up Friday on Google Plus Week, I forget the name of it. I was going to add it, and is it Elio? Elio, how do you pronounce it? This new social network.
Hello.
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 Just hello without an H.
Yeah, someone sent me a code, and I couldn't find out where to put it, and I couldn't get in. But I saw the guy, the TLDR, too long didn't read Wikipedia. He said something like it's a new social network that allows you to take over your life and waste all your time more ethically, or something like that. So I guess it's a social network that won't run ads or sell your information. That's their allure. This is sort of like that thing that Leo, did we talk about this a week ago or Friday? He donated to him that name escapes me. Some other social network they were supposed to develop, and they did a Kickstarter project, and I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something.
You're thinking Diaspora.
Yeah, Diaspora. So is this this LO thing? Is it a thing, or how are they going to make any money?
Well, they say they're going to make money by selling access to features. And there's speculation that they're going to make money by selling access to your posts. But
I guess Motorola could like offer a phone for the. I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, what would motivate me to purchase a feature that they offer? Like, what does this feature do in my life? That I would need.
No, so here's an example. Right now, Ello has large pictures, but they don't have albums. So maybe they'll start selling access to albums. So there's a feature that they might charge you $1 a month for.
And so I'm buying access to this album because I don't want Google to be cataloging my data or Facebook to be doing so I'm paying this extra, I'm just say $2 a year to be able to have stories without Google.
Right.
Essentially.
Yep.
I just wonder if that's something that I don't know. Okay.
I totally could give a damn. I mean, I'll do it just to be able to review it, right? But I love.
You'll do it so you can reserve your username, which is about the only reason I can figure out why anybody on Ello right now.
Here's the deal. In the morning, I'm a Flipboard fan. I'm a fan of a bunch of different news aggregators. I like Drudge Report, and then others. I swear to God, I think the best damn aggregator out there now is the Google app on my phone. It finds interesting stories when you go to just Google, right? We used to call it Google Now, but now I guess it's just called Google. But it's a Google Now feature of Google. And it shows you a few stories, and it says click here for more stories. And like almost always, they bat 90% with me. They find these obscure things. It could be about an email I got, a search I did for a pizza oven, or it could be about the EU or the ruble is crashing, whatever, a wide variety of things on all sorts of different things, and they're just so good because they know everything about me. I welcome them. I want to get scroogled. I want Google to know everything possible that I'm interested in and deliver, just as they do in search results, news stories, and they've become the go-to news aggregator for me.
Yeah, but social networking is more than just about news delivery. That's what Twitter was for, is news delivery. I think,
But Facebook pays attention to what you do, and they do a good job of delivering relevant stuff in your timeline, better so than Google Plus does. So I think that's a fail on Ello's part from 10,000 feet in the air, right?
What's a fail on Ello's part?
In other words, what I'm saying is that Facebook captures data just like Google does, and Facebook figures out what you're interested in and does a fairly good job of showing you things in your stream that are going to be interesting to you, more so than Google Plus does. Google Plus is just a straight like Twitter timeline. And then
what planet are you, Dan? Do you use
I know
Google
you can
Plus?
do stuff. Yeah.
Because what you just said isn't even wrong. It's totally wrong.
I mean, if I go to home on Google Plus, I find fewer things of interest to me than if I were able to go to Facebook right now, because right now I'm off. By the way, if any of you follow me on Facebook or are friends with me, I have not blocked you. I'm invisible because I'm working with their security team and the local sheriff's department because I got hacked. And we discussed it on Google Plus Week Friday, so check that out. But I got people, I'm getting angry texts that, how dare you block me on Facebook? And I haven't blocked anyone. I'm just invisible. But I don't know. Is Ello going anywhere, Alan?
We'll see.
We'll see. I'm pretty dubious. They have a couple of features that I consider decent, but for the most part, I think they've gotten some things wrong, and some design elements very wrong. Like Google didn't even make these bad mistakes.
That's high praise from Alan. Okay, so next is
my concluding thought on Ello. I've said it for 3 years now. Google needed to give a compelling reason why people need to start using Google+. Ello needs to give people a compelling reason why people need to use Ello, and they haven't given it.
Which is an excellent segue to our next topic. I remember seeing the Pawn Stars from some show trashing the Chromebook as it's not a real laptop. Go ahead,
In
Alan.
fact, I remember a particular talk show host say to my face that the Chrome OS is a ghetto operating system.
Okay, so revisionist historics again. I was referring to I think the Chromebox. I can't remember, but I concede
Do I need
defeat.
to pull up the video, Dan?
If you could, I know you would. Um, but you don't have that kind of time because you're actually a productive member of society. So, which is high praise for a Chromebook user. Just kidding. All right, so this is really amazing, and I immediately posted it and with high praise. I think this is fantastic because in that Scroogled ad for Microsoft, which is a sleazy company in some respects and a wonderful company in other respects, and they have like the best ever ex-CEO, billionaire guy, who's like trying to do all kinds of crazy stuff overseas, and it's wonderful that he's doing non-glamorous projects that matter. But they are they've announced a deal. Well, the pawn shops were the thrust of it was this is not a real laptop. It doesn't run real programs. Well, now Adobe Creative Cloud, or at least a version of it, is an adaptive version for this is going to come to the Chromebooks because that's one of the things. And they're going to start with Photoshop. I think it's absolutely fantastic. One of the things that I posted out in the field, I have a reporter out in the field. We got a camera. All our cameras are on LTE or whatever the new thing is, 7G. They're shooting 4K video. It's being uploaded to the Creative Cloud or some sort of cloud storage while they're shooting stills and video. Then they're in the vehicle coming back to the base, and that's still being uploaded. Maybe by the time they get home, all that 4K footage is uploaded. It's on the supercomputers at Adobe. And then I and Alan and Cadeas, all three of us, can jointly collaborate and edit a video, and all of our typical assets like lower thirds, intros, outros, music are all stored in the cloud, ready to go. And we have templates, and then we can all decide, okay, this is good. All the processing is done. The storage is done in the cloud. The rendering is done in the cloud on some supercomputer at Adobe whatever, and then it's uploaded to YouTube unlisted, so we can watch the finished product and decide is this good. We can go public with it, and it's all done in the cloud on our $300 Chromebooks. And we don't have to buy a $10,000 MacBook Pro setup in order to reinvent the wheel so everyone has this supercomputer at their house. Basically, it's like back in the day when I worked at the U.S. Embassy in London and at a Wang terminal, and there was like the hyper super thing. I think we're going to that again. And Alan, tell me what you think about this. I think this is badass and very exciting. It's the entry level to this, but this is making Chrome. You won't be able to say Chrome is not a viable operating system or that Chromebooks are not a real laptop as long as this goes, but the bandwidth has to catch up. Alan, go ahead. I'll be right back.
I think there's a lot that's awesome about this. I think there's even a lot that is awesome without needing to worry too much about the bandwidth. We think way too much about just shipping graphics down and shipping them back up and shipping them all over the place. I think part of what this shows, and part of, I would point out, what the Google Plus photo editor has shown us, is that there's a lot that can be done without having to have a local copy of the image. There's a lot of really incredible stuff that can be done. And I think this is one perfect example of that. You're making a face, Cadeas.
Well, I'm glad that they started doing this because I've been looking. I've been kind of looking because I've not been an Adobe user over the years. I've actually kind of shunned away from them. But here in the last 2 months, I've been kind of looking at the Creative Cloud, and my only thing is yes, you're giving me connectivity, and you're giving me this little bitty 2 gigabytes to store stuff. But I'm not seeing any, besides Photoshop, I'm not seeing anything beneficial from this package other than the storage, which I get 100 gigabytes from Google. So I'm not. So I just look at this and I go, I'm not, because I wanted to buy it.
It works with Drive.
Yeah. I don't know. What I'll end up doing is once this finally launches, I will sign up for it and see how I use it.
Well, and there's the other thing: educational customers who are using, their Adobe Creative Cloud or whatever it's called, they have it now. They got it.
I don't know. We'll see. I think they need to bring would be probably a more useful tool, at least for me, than
Which one? Did you
Illustrator.
look up again?
Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, and it's not available there. Like the tools that are very useful is not available there. In Photoshop, see, I guess if I'm taking pictures, I guess I can get some use cases out of it.
Photoshop is clearly the #1 photo editing program out there, right? That's their most popular thing.
I don't know. They need to bring more of their tools there. Once more of their tools
clearly,
are there,
this is an entry. This is a foray into this, and it's going to be a test to see how it works. And they'll learn as they develop the UI for Photoshop for Chromebook or for Chrome OS. They will incorporate those lessons learned into the next things. And I think that the fact that they're not simply downloading Photoshop onto Chromebooks. They're developing a new UI, so it can be a cloud-based system, and so they'll learn their lessons. But this is a huge coup for Adobe and for Google, because right now there's no anywhere remotely close affordable solution on iOS for schools, and we're seeing Chromebooks being adopted widely by schools because of the cost. So if they can now deliver the functionality, this will be a big boon for the entire Creative Suite.
Now, know that the platform is also available on iOS too, because that's actually where I was looking to use it at first before I started wishing it was on the Chromebook.
But if you're buying, if you have a school with 3,000 kids and you're going to get each of them some sort of device that they can take home, especially if you're in a lower income area where it's not generally accepted that the students would have internet at home that's reliable, or in a rural area like Harold Carey Jr. said that they bought a bunch of Chromebooks in the Navajo area, then this is a big boon that they're...
And we'll be talking about it more on Friday.
Absolutely. And then the last thing is this awful ad from Yelp and TripAdvisor, and they're going after after Google in the European Union, and it's just typical stuff that they're saying that Google is force feeding you stuff, and they want government regulators to come in and prevent Google from highlighting Google's own products. And I make the analogy, it's exactly the same thing. Google is not a monopoly. It's exactly the same thing as in the US in Costco. If Tide wanted to, and I'm not picking on Tide, I like Tide, I use Tide, but if they went to and wanted government regulators to say, Costco is a very popular retail store, it's a virtual monopoly in some areas, and we don't think they should be able to show Kirkland Signature products, their version of detergent, and prominently display that instead of Tide. And I think that is absolutely absurd. There's Bang, which is a healthy, robust, and obviously a minor player compared to Google, but it works, and a lot of people like it a lot. I think I've trashed them, and I think Alan, you've defended them and said that they're pretty good at a lot of things. I don't know, image search or whatever, but nobody's forced to use Google out of habit.
And we'll be discussing all of these issues on Friday. What time Friday, Dan?
We have two programs. One is called Google Plus Week, our flagship program, which is every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, plus or minus a 2-hour margin of error. And Alan, I guess you're not going to be on this Friday. Maybe we'll tape some segments or something so we can get you on. You can rant about something if you feel so inclined. But that's every Friday, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on Google Plus and YouTube Live. Also, this program, Our Android Week, is every Monday at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. So any final thing, or be good? Thank you all very much for watching. We appreciate it. Thanks for the comments, the live tweets, all that stuff. To our buddy with the 1+1, good luck. Hang in there. Keep us posted, please. And if I can find a PR thing, I will get with Cadeas and we'll contact you and get you to contact me and stuff, and we'll give them hell. Thank you all very much. And until next time, have an epic, awesome Android week. See you.